All right, so I have Kyle here. We're gonna go through the coach guided assessment, which takes about an hour to complete. We already have Kyle set up in the app and went through the process of him accepting the invite, and now we're gonna start the assessment. We're gonna start with the physical side. The first screen is gonna be the overhead deep squat, which is the first of 2 mobility screens we're gonna start with. So we're gonna have Kyle set up here at a shoulder width stance with his feet. Make sure his feet are nice and square, pointed forward. We're then gonna have Kyle put the club on top of his head. We're gonna make sure the elbows are at 90. That looks good. Then we're gonna have Kyle raise the club overhead, and you're gonna go down into a deep squat, trying to keep the club overhead as low as you can go. So we're gonna have him do this a few times. And as you're doing this, you're assessing the movement. So things I'm looking for are the feet flaring, any asymmetry in the joints lining up, the knees or the hips shifting. When you're looking from down the line, we want to make sure the bar is not coming forward of the toe line. All right, let's do one more there. Good. So you can see Kyle gets nice and deep with the deep squat, really low to the ground. The only thing we see is the bar coming slightly forward of the toe line. So that's one compensation. The rest looks good, so we're gonna go from a 3 to a 2. If he had more than one compensation, we would go down to a 1 from there. The next exercise we're gonna do is the second mobility screen, and it's the active straight leg raise. So we have a yoga mat laid out here. You can put a towel down if you don't have one, but we're gonna have Kyle lay on the mat. I'm gonna take the club from you. So we're gonna have Kyle lay on his back. And then Kyle, we're gonna go arms out to the side. I want you palms up, and you're gonna push the palms into the ground. Next, we're gonna have the feet close together with the toes pointed toward the sky. Now, the goal here is for Kyle to raise one leg. So we're gonna have him raise the right leg first. The other thing you wanna do is make sure you have your rolled up towel, and we're gonna place that underneath the leg that's gonna go up. So we're gonna start with the leg that's gonna stay down. We're gonna start with the right leg. Kyle's gonna raise his right leg, trying to keep it as straight as possible, as high as he can lift it. So we're keeping this leg down. He's gonna raise his right leg. Okay, go ahead and go back to the ground, Kyle. So this is my marker right here. We're going between the knee and the hip. You're gonna place the club here. Go ahead and raise it again. So if Kyle cleared with his ankle, he cleared this line, keeping his leg straight, and there was no other movement, that would be a 3. Let's go again. So you can see before he gets to this line, number 1, he can't get to that line all the way. So we know it's a 2 anyway. We need to make sure it's not a 1. So I would then look at the knee line. I'd go to here. I'm gonna have Kyle raise his leg again. And I wanna see, is there any compensation in movement? Do I see the other leg hiking off the ground, or his hip shifting, the knee bending before he gets to this first window with his ankle? Okay, go ahead one more time. So it's very close. You can see a little bit of movement with the left leg right before he gets there. He can clear it, but there's a little compensation with the left side, so we'd go from a 2 to a 1 on that one. All right, we're gonna go to the other side here. We're gonna switch the towel. Now we're gonna keep the right knee pushed into the towel. We're gonna raise the left leg. I'm gonna do the same thing. Okay, let's go back down. Okay, good. So same thing, you can't get past the 3 line. We're gonna go to the knee. Let's go ahead and raise again. Now, yeah, one more time. Okay. One last one. So you can do this as many times in order for you to see it well. On this leg, the left leg, he keeps the right down without compensation until the time he gets here. So we're gonna score that a 2 instead of a 1. So if this leg started shifting before he got the ankle past this line, then it's gonna be a 1, but he doesn't. He stays nice and stable. Go ahead one more time. You can see the Good, stop there. You can see this leg isn't moving by the time he gets there. So that's why it's a 2 instead of a 1. And that's the active straight leg raise. All right, so the next physical test is the broad jump. Now we're moving to power from the first 2 we did, which were mobility screens. So we're gonna have Kyle jump, broad jump 3 times, and we're gonna take the longest of the 3. Now, let's go ahead and do the first one. You're gonna line up with your feet at the beginning of the tape measure. As he jumps, we're gonna measure from the back of his heel when he lands. Now, it's important that he lands and holds the landing. If he falls off balance after landing, it's considered a scratch. We would mark it at 0, and then he would go to the next attempt. Let's go ahead and do the first one. Okay, so I'm gonna measure from the back of the heel, 6'8". We'll go to attempt number 2. There we go, further. 7 feet, nice. All right, one more, gotta beat 7 feet. All right, so he's a little shorter on this one, 6'10", so we're gonna take the 7 feet on that one. Now, this test shows the ability to leverage the ground, be explosive, create speed and power, and also decelerate as they land too. So you learn a lot as a coach about how he's creating force with the ground, but also landing softly is a sign of deceleration. So those are things to look for as somebody goes through this test. We want to make sure they're jumping at least 100% of their height. So Kyle's about 6 feet tall. He was well past that. We ideally want to get to 120% or more to really be explosive in this test. So that's the broad jump. Okay, the fourth and final physical test is going to be the single leg hip bridge. So we're going to have Kyle lay on the yoga mat on his back. Now, if you don't have a yoga mat, you could use a towel, or if you're inside, you don't need anything. This is just to help keep him from getting dirty here. So we're going to have Kyle go arms crossed to begin with, and we're going to have him pull his heels kind of in under his knees like that, feet close together. Now, from there, Kyle's going to raise his hips off the ground as high as he can. Go ahead and do that, Kyle, just to show the camera. So we want to make sure the knee, the hip, the shoulder form a straight line as we do this, and that's where they need to hold this test as they go through it. So next, Kyle's going to raise his right leg, keeping the left on the ground. Go ahead and raise. And we want the leg at 90 degrees, foot or toes pointed toward the sky. Now, this is a time test, so Kyle's going to hold this position as long as he can. Ideally, we're looking for a 2-minute hold on this to get the full score. So typically, as somebody starts getting tired, we see the hips lower toward the ground, or we sometimes see the hips shift. You'll see one side get lower than the other, at which point we want to give the athlete a warning, tell them to correct it. And then the second time that happens is where we stop the clock. Kyle's doing pretty good here. A lot of times you'll see this leg starting to get straight, so just remind them to keep that leg at 90. Doing good there, Kyle. Now, in the app, I've started the stopwatch. So that's what you're going to use to start and stop. Okay. So at that point, I would stop wherever he is as he goes down is where the time or the score is going to be. Now, it might be you telling them to go down, or it might be them going down on their own. If they cramp up, you want to just tell them to go down. You're going to mark it at that point. So that is the single leg hip bridge.